I know you were talking on the phone with your husband right now. We're investigating a murder. Is there any way that these text messages are going to come back to you?
There are messages from you, and it's because her husband found out you were having an affair, and I didn't know that.
When's the last time you knew you had an affair?
We got one dead dog right here. We got a second dead dog over to the left. Watch out.
Hey guys, I'm back with another video. I hope you're all doing well. If you're here because you found me on TikTok, welcome back. And if you're just a new subscriber that found me on YouTube, welcome to my channel, and I'm so happy you're here. I'm gonna quickly get into today's case because I'm not kidding when I tell you that this case literally shocked me. Guys, get ready because this one is a wild one and it's probably a case that you will never forget. So this case took place in a quiet neighborhood in Romeoville, Illinois on September 16th, 2023. What began as a regular routine welfare check quickly turned into something terrifying that I can't even put into words. When police arrived at Zoraida and Alberto's home, they discovered a horrific scene. Zoraida and Alberto and their two young sons, who were only 10 and 7 years old, as well as their 3 dogs, they were all brutally murdered. Everyone who knew Zoraida and Alberto, as well as the people in their neighborhood, asked the same question: who would want this entire family gone? Before I get into the details of this case, please make sure to like and subscribe. It literally takes 2 seconds and you will be notified for all future videos so you don't miss out on any new cases. Now, let's talk about it. On September 17th, Zoraida's mother called police to do a welfare check because she wasn't able to get in contact with her daughter or her husband Alberto or any of their 2 kids. When police arrived to Zoraida and Alberto's house later that night to do the welfare check, they knocked but no one answered, so they forced themselves in. And that's when they found the entire family deceased, including their 3 dogs. But who was Zoraida and Alberto, and what happened leading up to their entire family's murder? Zoraida was known for her warm personality and worked at Avanti Engineering, which is a CNC machining manufacturer in Glendon Heights, Illinois. Alberto was a loving father and husband who was also described as a very chill and easygoing man. They had what seemed like the perfect family, especially when you look at their social media photos. They all look so happy with their 2 young kids who were only 7 and 10 years old. To the outside world, they appeared to be this close-knit, quiet, and regular family. But I think that we should know by now that we can't assume what people's lives are like because we don't really know what's going on behind closed doors. Especially with social media, you can always paint a completely different picture than what's actually going on. And let me just emphasize that even though this case is very twisted, I still think that there is a lot to learn about this story. Zoraida and her family's death was part of a complicated and disturbing plot involving Zoraida's affair with a man named Nathaniel Huey Jr. But here's the thing, Nathaniel wasn't the only person involved in this disturbing and evil plot. There is a lot more to the story. Zoraida and Nathaniel met at work, and like I said, Zoraida worked at Avanti Engineering in Glendon Heights, Illinois. They knew each other for about a year and started an affair in May 2023. As you know, Zoraida was married to her husband Alberto. They had 2 kids. Nathaniel, on the other hand, was in a 10+ year relationship with a woman named Ermelinda Palomo. As you can see, they were both in long-term relationships, so they did whatever they could to keep their affair a secret. It was said that Zoraida and Nathaniel would see each other at work, talk at work, hang out, and then they would meet at hotels after work or on the weekends whenever they could. They communicated on different apps such as Snapchat and Instagram DMs, and for some time, they thought that no one knew about their affair. They thought that it was a secret and that only the 2 of them knew what was going on. But they were wrong. At some point during their affair, Nathaniel's fiancée, Ermelinda, found out about what was going on, but instead of her completely losing it and confronting him, she kept it a secret. She kept it to herself, but she would come up with this crazy and disturbing plot to get revenge. And I'm not talking about revenge against Nathaniel necessarily. She targeted Zoraida and her family. While most people would just walk away from this relationship, Ermelinda's actions were far from rational. And let me just say that before Ermelinda found out about Nathaniel's affair with Zoraida, she had been catfishing him for a couple years. And let me explain that because it is so important in this story. In 2021, Irma Linda began creating various social media accounts and pretended to be someone from the Mexican cartel. And she got in contact with Nathaniel, her fiance, and manipulated him into believing that he was speaking to this person from this Mexican cartel. I know, this is crazy, psychotic, and it's really difficult to believe, but this is just what was going on. Nathaniel, who thought that he was in contact with this person from the cartel, he was afraid and he thought that he had to do everything that this person told him to do. For years, Nathaniel was convinced that he was part of this organization and that it was real, and he had no clue that all of these messages were from his fiancée, Irma Linda. Now, this is where things get very serious because in September 2023, this is when Irma Linda finds out about her fiancé Nathaniel's affair with his co-worker Zoraida, and she uses this opportunity to come up with this evil plan. Irma Linda, who was posing as this cartel leader, told Nathaniel that they knew about his affair. And again, Nathaniel has no idea that this entire time it's his own fiancé sending him these messages. How psychotic is this? So a few days go by, and on September 14th, 2 days before Zoraida and her whole family is murdered, Nathaniel received orders from the cartel saying that Zoraida was a mole in the organization and was planning against him. So he had to murder Zoraida and her entire family to protect himself. So you're telling me that this woman thought that it made more sense to catfish her husband, come up with this evil, twisted plan, and risk going to prison forever just so that this affair would end? I don't know how great this man was, but I'm telling you right now that no person would ever push me to go this low to keep them. So when Nathaniel was told by the cartel that he had to do this, he went and told his fiancée what was going on, and obviously she already knew, but she had to pretend like she didn't know. So over the next few days, Nathaniel called in sick and he didn't go to work, and he started planning Zoraida's murder based on everything these cartel leaders were telling him to do, aka his fiancée. When I say the cartel, you guys know I'm talking about Irma Linda, but I'm just gonna keep both of them separate so the story makes more sense. So the cartel leader guided Nathaniel on how to carry out the crime, basically reassuring him, telling him that there's a lot of murders that go unsolved, so not to worry about it. They told Nathaniel to scout the neighborhood for cameras and to figure out how to enter and exit the house. So the plan was to make it seem like a burglary, and they told him that when he enters the house to make sure that he damages it as much as he could so that it can seem like kids did it. Nathaniel made sure to follow through with everything the cartel leaders were telling him, and he was ready for this big day. On September 16th at 3:17 a.m., Irma Linda and Nathaniel drove together to Zoraida's house in Romeoville, and while Irma Linda waited in the car, Nathaniel broke into the house. First, he cut 2 screens on the windows to make it look like a break-in, but then entered through an unlocked door in the kitchen. It was said that Zoraida's husband Alberto heard some noise in the kitchen, so he quickly ran in there, and when he got there, he was shot by Nathaniel. He was still able to run towards the bedrooms to protect his wife Zoraida and his 2 kids, but then he was shot multiple times. Then Nathaniel went to the bedroom where Zoraida and her 2 kids were hiding, and he shot through the door, hitting Zoraida. Then he was able to enter and he took the lives of the 2 kids. And then he decided that absolutely no one is getting spared in this house, so he took out their 3 dogs. Then after taking out the entire family, he tried to mislead investigators by spray painting all over the walls to make it seem that kids did it. Now, it wasn't even long until someone knew that something was wrong. The following night at around 9 p.m., Zoraida's mother called police to do a welfare check on her daughter and the family because she said that Zoraida failed to show up to work, and she has been trying to get in contact with her daughter and Alberto, and no one was answering. When officers arrived to their home on 500 Concord Avenue, they quickly noticed that the window was broken and saw that there was a table flipped inside the house. The officers knew right away that something was wrong. When they finally forced themselves inside the house, they immediately saw the 3 dogs deceased. Then as they searched room to room, they first saw Alberto, then Zoraida, and then the bodies of their 2 kids. But what baffled officers was the overkill. The entire family altogether was 20 times, and officers knew that this was personal. When the investigation began, police looked through surveillance cameras, GPS data, and cell phone tower records around the area of the murders and noticed that Nathaniel's car was driven around this area. So the very next day, investigators went to Nathaniel's work and interviewed him for the very first time. During this interview, Nathaniel seems to be very calm and soft-spoken, but at some points he does fidget, kind of showing that he was nervous, but he also does laugh at certain points of the interview.
It's like you see on TV. There's always just pain in perception.
During the interview, he admitted that he had this affair with Zoraida and that his fiancée did not know, which is so wild because she very much knows. He explains that him and Zoraida met at work and started this relationship, and that they speak after work, they sometimes go to hotels, and they communicate through Snapchat and Instagram. When asked by investigators if he had anything to do with the murders, he right away says no. And keep in mind, he shows no emotions, kind of like nothing even happened. Then they asked to go through his phone to look at the messages between him and Zoraida, but he got very nervous and hesitant and said that he deleted everything. He then told investigators that he had things on his phone that were not related to the murder, but that there were things that were more personal to him, and he wanted to go home and delete them first before they took his phone.
How about this? How about I come see you guys later today after work or something like that? Because I got fucking other shit in there that I don't necessarily want you to be like looking at. You know what I'm saying?
I understand. But again,
I promise you, I don't care what you look at.
No, it's not like fucking like freak shit like that or anything like that.
In that moment, they knew that Nathaniel was hiding something. Later that day, when Nathaniel finished work, police went to his house, which he lived there with Ermelinda, and they quickly noticed a car parked in their driveway, which was the same car that they saw on surveillance close to the murder scene on that night. By this time, Nathaniel was their main suspect, but police did not have enough evidence to arrest him. Officers then took Ermelinda and asked her if she knew Zoraida or knows any information about the murders and what happened. And Ermelinda admits that she saw Zoraida's name on Nathaniel's phone.
Have you ever met Zoraida?
No,
You seen a picture of her?
no.
So that name comes up to you because you saw it.
Well, really, that name stuck in my head because that night I thought, are you cheating on me?
Was the person calling?
They're calling in.
Okay.
More than once.
She then admits that she knows that Nathaniel has cheated on her in the past and that this isn't really new to her, but that she was angry at him.
When's the last time that he had an affair? Because I know this is not the first time.
No, it's not.
Okay. When's the last time you knew he had an affair?
When we first started dating.
But then she covered for Nathaniel and told police that on the night of the murders, they were both at home, drinking, and together.
Either Friday or Saturday nights, did he go out with his friends?
No.
Did he work?
Friday night, no, he was with me.
Saturday night.
No.
Basically giving him an alibi. But at this point, they don't believe her and they're just gathering more evidence behind the scenes, enough evidence to arrest them. On September 20th, only a few days after the murders, police noticed that Ermelinda and Nathaniel fled from Illinois. Ermelinda's family reported her missing and told police that they believe that she was taken by Nathaniel and that her life was in danger. But then police were told that they were spotted together at a Walmart 9 hours away in Catoosa, Oklahoma. Security cameras captured them casually shopping, smiling, and walking side by side as they left the Walmart. But everything quickly took a turn because police were actually waiting outside to arrest them. When Ermelinda and Nathaniel got into their car, police approached them and they quickly drove off, and police were now chasing them. They eventually crashed their car on the highway and it burst into flames, and you can hear the police officers telling them to get out. However, Nathaniel and Ermelinda refused to get out of the car, and Nathaniel shot Ermelinda in the head. He attempted to take his life but failed the first time, and so he tried again and it worked. And that's how this entire story ends. An entire family of 4 plus 3 dogs were savagely taken out. Then the 2 people responsible cowardly take the easy way out to avoid dealing with the consequences. Again, this is probably one of the most twisted cases I've ever heard of. It literally left my jaw on the floor. What's absolutely mind-blowing is the amount of effort and time Ermelinda put into catfishing her fiancé, and all because he was cheating on her and she wanted it to end. And keep in mind that this wasn't the first time that Nathaniel cheated on Ermelinda, so if she got away with this, was she planning on doing this again if he cheated on her? It's actually very scary to think that there's people out there that think like this and commit these kind of crimes. There's so much to learn about this case in all areas. Just leave a relationship if you feel like someone isn't treating you right. Why would you go to this extent of hurting other people just because you're angry? I guess there was just so much more going on with this woman that we just can't explain, because who in their right mind would take something so far to murder an entire family because of an affair? What do you guys think about this case, and have you heard about it? I hope I did a good job in breaking down the case and explaining it to you guys, because I know when I first heard of it, I was kind of confused because there was just so many people involved and I had no idea what was going on. If you want my future videos recommended to you, make sure you like and subscribe. It literally takes 2 seconds. I don't post every day here, but I do on my other social medias, so make sure if you want to keep up with me that you follow me there. Thanks again, stay safe. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.